Hey, what up? It's New Age Ja. I'm hoping that you can hear me okay. So creature comforts bring warmth. And the sun approaches the constellation of Cancer, which has a lot to do with our safety, security, our nesting abilities. It's an energy that's centered around the mother, the maternal figure, having a lot to do with one's emotional nature as well as how one decides to self-soothe, soothe, and or eat, consume. So the moon has a lot to do with consuming, holding, withholding, secrecy, romance, love, illusion, fantasy, again, home, safety, security, feminine cycles, fertility, telepathy, psychic communication. The moon represents a lot, as the moon was the original messenger. Archangel Gabriel being the original messenger, who is said to represent the sign of Cancer, a feminine energy. The moon also represents travel, and it's a timekeeper. We have the opposition of Saturn to Moon, and Saturn is also a timekeeper. So you would imagine that two wholes to a half, or two halves to a whole, being one of them being Capricorn and Cancer, would both have something to do with timing, travel, and communication. Okay. Vampire. A lot of manifestation work is happening at night, and we are approaching a time period where one may tend to stay more so awake in the evenings and or nighttime. There's something about Cancer season that feeds the soul. Not only on a solar level, but if you think about it, right? The moon, the sun, the sign of the moon, Cancer, what am I saying? The sun being our ego, vitality, our life purpose, could even be career, vocation, etc. The masculine, the father, as well as hold attributes of the husband. Having the sun, the solar power, in a moon-powered sign, which is Cancer, brings nurturing and vitality to the areas where we may be feeling lack, or an abundance of familial ties, familial resonance, familial residence as well. So there's a vitality and opportunity to empower ourselves in our home sector, wherever in your life you may call home. Some people call the office home or the gym home. So we have an opportunity to revitalize the areas of domesticity. So, basic caretaking happens here. Cleaning, cooking, taking care of children, minding others, being receptive, potentially, being a great listener. Beep, beep. Hi, baby. Beep, beep. Beep, beep. Beep, beep. You may also feel a little bit lazy.
This one.
baby. The other one is not there. It's broken, Mama.
Oh.
You know that. Come on.
Yes, second.
Yes, it's broken.
Oh. Beep beep.
Hi, baby.
Beep beep. Beep beep.
Beep, beep. The vampire and the lover. Okay, so the idea of feeling lazy. Okay, so it's like when you charge a cell phone.
Mommy.
If we're relating the moon to travel and communication,
Mommy.
yes.
Water.
Water?
Yeah.
Okay, come on.
Okay.
Okay, so just like a cell phone battery that needs to be recharged on a daily basis, if we have a low battery on our cell phone and we would like to have it be full so that we can go out of the house for the day and, not worry about a dying battery, but you only have an hour to charge it and it's looking pretty low. You know that if you turn off the cell phone, or if you leave the cell phone alone, even put it on airplane mode, that it will charge faster rather than you touching it or playing with it or picking it up every 30 seconds or having a background app refresh that is constantly like refreshing itself even though it's not in use, but then using precious vitality and your battery charge. So Cancer season is similar to that very concept where we are actively resting. Now, this could look like several different things. It could be an internal process that you are able to recognize while continuing about your daily activities. And this would feel more like being lazy or having lazy energy or heavy energies within the self. Although Cancer is a cardinal active archetypal energy that will pick up self and move. So back to the whole recharging state. You can recharge yourself in several different forms, but the feeling and heaviness or the laziness is not to have you stop doing your work, but to put to rest somewhere the subconscious mind, and or to put to rest somehow that frontal mind, egoic mind, and just allowing the subconscious self to work itself through, to work itself out within its own internal pace, while you simultaneously maintain activity on the physical world. So it's the physical, the logical mental world merging with an emotionality. So basically what we would be putting to rest would be our mental faculties and or logic. This is differing and separate from the energy that was read yesterday, where we are turning our losses into a win. They are working simultaneously, but there's a differentiation when you decide which brain you're deciding to put to sleep, or which emotional body or which receptive faculty that you are choosing to lie and rest. So that could be, reserving your emotional self or allowing yourself to rest. This is also choosing foods that make you feel comfortable and safe in your body. This could be considering and reprioritizing the home environment, which whether that requires a move or an acceptance of visitors or foreigners, or something of the like, where nurturing, service-oriented emotional exchange is happening. So there's an involvement of multiple faculties and or sources. So it could be travel, it could be emotional, it could be relational, it could be immediate. Okay. This is also a time of forgiveness, where we find the cold spots in our emotional anatomy and consciously decide to warm them up. The ego consciousness, or the height of the sun, is technically at its high point. And that allows for greater visibility, especially throughout the murky waters. But again, there's this threat of feeling exhausted or exhausting the self. It's, taking a dip in the ocean and then overexerting the self too much in the water while enjoying it. It's like, you got to be careful, because exhaustion in the waters can be drowning. I hope that made sense. Cancer. The Cancerian is the mystic, and she has excellent networking qualities, or components that seem to function on a level of mystery that isn't exactly always comprehended. And this attracts energies that seek to learn. On the better side of things would be to learn, but also sometimes to receive, or to take, to learn via what would be, a perceived osmosis, and an osmosis being some sort of like transformation of energy, with like water vapor-like qualities, making it then easy to be like permeated and or absorbed. From what I'm understanding anyway, a mystic, making others quite curious. And with the impression of a mixed ideal, or a mixed emotional attachment. So we are able to recognize why we are latching or attaching ourselves to others, people, places, or things. For what reason? Are we seeking to absorb an excess of energy, or are we looking to take an excess of energy, or too much energy, or energy, period? So this time can be an emotionally permeable time, where there can appear to be a lack of boundaries, unless like the factor of safety or security is like threatened. It takes a little bit more of a while to really understand the emotional motives of not only yourself but others. And so I suppose it's an invite or a call to allow yourself to be emotionally like vulnerable, while still maintaining like your mysterious ways of self. And the only thing that makes them mysterious is that you just move in a unique fashion, and that is like for you, because it's instinctual, it's a subjective experience, so it's going to look different from the majority. Mm. It's a great opportunity to take advantage of your social connections that may be lying dormant. I mean, coming from a more subconscious and dark place where our mental faculties seem to be like drain us more so than our emotional capacities here in this season, we'll have a leg up by being able to process the world through our feeling body, having perceived some sort of awakening and or a transition into time. Love is in the air. Hi, baby. Okay. Itchy, itchy, itchy. Now, when it comes to networking, we may be oscillating between being a lot more direct, straightforward, or even pushy with our emotional intentions. Hi, baby. I love you. You know, go. Where's your blankie? You're sleepy. It's nap time. I love you, baby. Go get your blankie, baby. Mama, get you all set. Yeah, it's very easy to get caught up in distractions when you won't go wrong by focusing on the home that you're building, the hearth that you're building, the kitchen that you're building. Focusing on feeding, nurturing, and caring for that which is immediate to you. You may not always communicate it, but you're great at showing it. Okay. Yeah, and we also become aware of our inner saboteur that may sometimes manifest itself as a hermit-like attitude, which may trick you into thinking that it would be a replenishing experience to remove the self from any potential love, again, networking opportunities, and also taking you from your potential path of mystery and self-discovery. So at this time, we also become aware of our self-sabotaging tendencies and where we tend to cut ourselves off from being nurtured and allowing ourselves to really rally on, commune, and communicate with those around us. That's it would be more so of a subconscious way of dealing with communication. Yeah, it's a healing time of realizations, and impartiality is called for. So being neither here nor there, you know, allowing yourself to network and cool off without having big bouts of isolation where you go completely cold. Impartiality. And being impartial and detached is great. It's also not a good time to indulge in any type of gossip. If you do receive gossip, it's best to remain impartial. Because I believe that there are half truths or partial truths or some sort of manipulation of the truth happening in order to curate some sort of like fantasy or ideal image, but it's smoke and mirrors anyways. So whatever picture someone's trying to paint for you isn't exactly all that and or true. So it's important to remain impartial and to abide by your intuition. Steadfastness is always can be a path to enlightenment, depending on the end goal and what one is reaching for. Could be ideas of sovereignty, but in this time we tend to lean towards something that is enlightening. Tying back to yesterday's turn your losses into wins, we briefly touched on Jupiter's exaltation in Cancer, and Jupiter is inherently a guru or represents, spiritual inclinations and where we can open our minds and broaden our horizons and even like express and or explore multiple religions. So it finds home in Cancer. Cancer being a spiritual sign, hence showing or representing, emotional, spiritual receptivity, enlightenment, workaholic tendencies, the ability to create illusions, but as well as dispel any type of like gossip, trickery, by remaining in good spiritual clarity and or cleanliness. Yeah, you could have some hidden enemies become a bit more apparent, people who feel guilty for either betraying you or leaving you. And something about an increased sense of self-worth and a renewal that kind of was intended to be blocked, but somehow you found your path and you continued about your journey despite any like projections of guilt, rejection as well. You're going to find your way regardless. So there's an array of emotional experiences that are readily available for you, and even the potential of meeting up with a soulmate due to your faith in your ability to attract one. Allowing yourself to share the burdens of life, become equal, which engenders a self-discovery. It's a bittersweet thing, but with the ultimate purpose of service. This card wants to come off. Temperance, Sagittarius, Libra, Pisces, Cancer. Hi, Mama. What you got in there? Can you make me something? What are you gonna make me? Queen of Wands, turning up the temperature. King of Wands, so that is the divine counterpart with alchemy, manifestation, patience, sexuality, sensuality, romance, soulmate, balance. It's almost like it's because of a miracle and the faith that you had. Having to really deal with and or face, you know, directly. You couldn't like pass this without directly activating a renewal by facing rejection, guilt, workaholism, issues of self-worth, you know, not being able to let go, right? Doubting one's creations and path to enlightenment, falling for trickery and gossip. And the challenge was to remain, impartial. Queen of Wands, King of Wands, Temperance. It's a lot of like fire energy. Oh, I want that so bad. I want this Queen of Wands and King of Wands energy. And then we have the Six of Swords. I don't know where that came from. Ooh, it's getting hot. Sun's moving. I'm gonna have to move myself. Okay. Queen of Wands, Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo. So as we go into the summer months, it looks like things just get a lot hotter, literally, on a romantic level and